The sun was setting over Umwogu village, casting long shadows across the small, dusty compound where Akunne and her daughter, Amanda, lived. Their house was tiny, with a thatched roof that leaked when it rained. The air smelled of burning firewood, and the sound of children playing filled the distance. But inside their home, there was no laughter, only silence and pain. Akunne sat on the wooden bench outside, her hands resting on her lap. She looked tired, her face worn from years of struggle. At 40, she had seen too much suffering. She lost her husband, Amadi, 6 years ago, and since then, life had never been the same. Her husband's brother, Amadi, had taken everything from her, the house, the farmland, the little money they had. He said she had no right to inherit anything because she had no male child. Akunne begged, she cried, but Amadi was a wicked man. He threw her and Amanda out with nothing but the clothes on their backs. Since then, Akunne had done every job she could find, washing clothes for people, carrying heavy loads in the market, even selling her own wrappers just to feed Amanda. Despite the hardship, she had one dream, to see Amanda go to school and become something in life. And now, that dream was becoming a reality. Amanda had just been given admission into the university. "Mama, I got in." Amanda had cried, her eyes shining with excitement when she saw the letter. Akunne had held her close, tears of joy streaming down her face. "My daughter, God has remembered us." But there was one problem, money. Amanda's school fees were high, and Akunne had nothing left to sell. That night, Akunne sat outside, staring at the stars. She prayed in silence, asking God for a miracle. She had sacrificed everything for Amanda. She couldn't let her daughter's future slip away. But in the darkness, someone else was watching. Someone who hated to see them happy. Amadi. He sat outside his big house, drinking palm wine, his heart burning with jealousy. His own children were useless, troublemakers who had dropped out of school. But Amanda, the girl he had chased away, was going to the university. He clenched his fist. He could not let that happen. No, Amanda must not succeed. A wicked smile crept across his face. Something had to be done. Morning sun rose over Umwogu village, casting golden light on the narrow, dusty roads. Birds chirped in the trees, and the distant sound of traders setting up their stalls filled the air. It was a new day, a day Amanda had been waiting for. She packed her small bag carefully. She had only a few clothes, her admission letter, and a small bottle of palm oil her mother gave her as a blessing. Akunne stood by the door, watching her daughter with a mix of pride and sadness. "Amanda, my child, always remember where you come from. Study hard, and don't trust too many people." "I will, Mama," Amanda said, hugging her mother tightly. Tears filled Akunne's eyes. She had fought so hard for this moment, selling her last wrapper to gather money for Amanda's transport and registration. It wasn't much, but it was enough to start. A kind neighbor, Mama Ngozi, had arranged for Amanda to travel with a trader heading to the city. The trader, Babachike, was an old man who sold yams in the market. "Papa, thank you for helping my daughter," Akunne said as she handed Amanda's bag to him. "No problem, my sister. The journey is long, but I will make sure she reaches safely," Babachike assured her. Amanda climbed into the back of the small, rusty pickup truck. Other passengers were already seated, their baskets of goods taking up most of the space. As the truck rumbled to life, Akunne waved, her heart heavy yet hopeful. "God be with you, my daughter." Amanda smiled. "I will make you proud, Mama." The truck moved slowly, kicking up dust as it left the village road. But hidden in the shadows, someone watched them, Amadi. His face twisted with hatred. "This girl thinks she can succeed. Over my dead body," he muttered. He turned and walked towards a small, dark hut at the edge of the village. Inside, an old man sat on the floor, grinding herbs with a wooden mortar. "Dibia, I need your help," Amadi said, his voice low. The old man looked up, his eyes sharp and knowing. "What do you want?" "There is a girl, Amanda. She must not reach the university." The Dibia chuckled, his teeth stained with kola nut. "That is easy. But it comes with a price." I will pay anything, Amadi said without hesitation. The dibia nodded and began to chant, sprinkling black powder into the fire. Far away, on the road to the city, Amanda suddenly felt a chill run down her spine. She had no idea that danger was coming. The truck sped along the narrow highway, bouncing over potholes as Amanda held tightly to her bag. The journey was long, but her heart was full of hope. Every bump reminded her that she was leaving her past behind and stepping into a new future. Beside her, Boba Chike hummed an old Igbo song, eyes focused on the road. We will soon reach Onitsha, my daughter. From there, you can take a bus straight to the university. Amanda smiled. Thank you, Papa Chike. My mother will never forget your kindness. The road ahead was quiet. Trees lined both sides, and the sound of the engine echoed in the still air. Suddenly, a strange wind blew across the road. The sky, clear moments ago, began to darken. Boba Chike frowned. This is strange. It was sunny just now. Before Amanda could speak, a dark shadow crossed the road. A figure, tall, faceless, stood ahead of the truck. Boba Chike shouted, swerving the wheel. The truck screeched and flipped off the road. Screams filled the air as metal clashed, and the world spun around Amanda. Then, silence. When Amanda opened her eyes, she was lying in the bush. Her clothes were torn, blood running from her forehead. She sat up slowly and looked around. The truck was smashed. One of the passengers lay lifeless on the ground. Boba Chike was slumped over the steering wheel, not moving. Amanda tried to stand but collapsed. Her eyes became heavy. As she drifted into darkness, she saw the shadowy figure standing nearby, watching her. No, no, she whispered. Back in Umogu village, Akunne dropped the bowl she was washing. Her heart raced suddenly. Something felt wrong, very wrong. At that same moment, Amadi was sitting in his house, laughing to himself. Let's see if she will go to university now, he said, sipping palm wine. He didn't know. Amanda's story was not over. 3 days later, the news came. Amanda is dead, the villagers whispered. She died in a terrible accident on her way to school. Akunne screamed and fainted. Her only child, her everything, was gone. Or so everyone thought. But deep in the forest, near the accident site, Amanda's body lay undisturbed. The air around her began to shimmer. Her fingers twitched. Her eyes opened, glowing with a strange light. She stood up slowly, her wounds gone. I will not rest, Amanda said, her voice calm but cold. I must finish what I started. She turned toward the path to the university. Amanda was back. But she was no longer alive. The university campus buzzed with life, students laughing, lecturers rushing to class, and sellers shouting by the gate. It was a world full of dreams and youthful energy. But among the new faces walking through the gates that morning was one who didn't belong to the world of the living. Amanda. She wore a plain white dress, her face calm, her step slow. No one noticed that her shadow didn't fall on the ground. No one saw that her feet barely touched the earth. She walked straight to the administration office. Name, the woman behind the desk asked without looking up. Amanda Nwakigo, she said. The woman typed quickly. You're late. You missed orientation, but your documents are in order. Go to room B12. That's your hostel. Amanda nodded. Thank you. As she left, the woman suddenly looked up, confused. The chair Amanda had sat on was still cold, like no one had touched it. Days passed. Amanda blended in like every other student. She went to lectures, did her assignments, and even answered questions in class. But strange things began to happen. A lecturer fainted after calling Amanda's name from the attendance list. One girl in her hostel claimed Amanda's bed was always cold, even under the sun. Another student swore she saw Amanda walk through a closed door. Still, no one could explain it. Amanda was quiet, respectful, and brilliant. She always wore the same white dress, but no one dared to ask why. Then one day, in the library, Amanda met him. Mike. He was tall, with kind eyes and a calm spirit. He noticed Amanda reading alone and walked over. "Hi," he said, smiling. "You're in my literature class, right?" Amanda looked up slowly. "Yes, I am." "I'm Mike," he said, stretching out his hand. Amanda hesitated, then shook it. His touch was warm. She hadn't felt warmth in a long time. From that moment, something changed. Mike began to spend more time with Amanda. They read together, walked around campus, and shared stories. He didn't care about the rumors. To him, Amanda was special. Amanda felt something too, something she thought she had lost forever. Love. But the more she loved Mike, the more she felt her spirit weakening. One night, she stood by the mirror in her room. Her reflection was fading. Her hands were almost see-through. "I can't stay forever," she whispered to herself. "But I'm not done yet." Then, she felt something move inside her. A heartbeat. She gasped, placing a hand on her stomach. "No, it's not possible." Amanda was pregnant. In the university hostel, Amanda sat on her narrow bed, her back against the wall, staring at the window as raindrops streamed down the glass like falling tears. She wasn't crying, but her heart ached with a weight too deep for words. Her hands rested gently on her stomach, and for the first time since her return, she felt afraid. Amanda had been walking among the living for over a month now. Though no one suspected her truth, whispers followed her everywhere. Her classmates couldn't place what was odd about her, but they knew something wasn't right. She never ate. She never seemed tired. She wore the same white dress every single day. Her skin was always cold to the touch, and though she smiled, her eyes carried a sadness that scared some people. But there was one person who didn't fear her. Mike. He had been drawn to her from the first day they met in the library. Amanda remembered how he had smiled at her, a kind, curious smile that lit something inside her long-dead heart. He was persistent. He offered her snacks after class. He walked her back to the hostel. He made her laugh, a sound she hadn't heard from herself in a long time. Slowly, without knowing who she truly was, Mike had loved her. And she loved him back. Now she carried his child. A child conceived not just out of love, but out of something deeper, a second chance, a mystery of the spirit realm that Amanda herself didn't understand. She hadn't told Mike yet. How could she? How does one confess to being a walking ghost? How do you explain that you were buried weeks ago, yet here you are, carrying life in a body that no longer belonged to the living? Amanda had rehearsed the moment 1,000 times in her head, but nothing felt right. The truth would crush him. Or worse, he wouldn't believe her. But she knew the day was coming when she would have no choice. In the village of Umwogu, far away from the bright lights of the university, Akunne stirred from her mat. She hadn't slept much since Amanda's burial. Grief was a rope pulling tighter around her throat every day. People came with food, with words, with sympathy. But nothing could fill the hole left in her heart. Her only child, her reason for living, was gone. The one she had struggled for, sold her wrappers for, done menial jobs for. Amanda had died before even stepping into the lecture hall. But strange things had started happening in Akunne's house. Sometimes, she would wake and find the firewood already arranged in the hearth. Sometimes the clay pot at the back of the house would be full even when she hadn't fetched water. One night, she had heard footsteps, soft and light, like Amanda's. When she called out, there was no answer, only the rustling of leaves outside. Her neighbors whispered that perhaps the spirit of her daughter was nearby. Some said it was madness, that grief was playing tricks on her mind. But Akunne knew her daughter. A mother always knows. And in truth, Amanda had been visiting. On nights when the moon was full and the world was quiet, she would leave the university and walk the lonely path through the bushes to her mother's compound. She would sit on the wooden bench outside, watching the door, watching her mother sleep. She longed to reach out, to speak, to be seen. But her time had not yet come.